What's up, guys? Kenny Tunison here. Today I'm going to talk about how I got jacked. This is going to be a no bullshit guide, a cold hard truth kind of video. So let's get right into it. All right, the first thing that I will talk about is going to be the mindset that you are going to need to have. More specifically, how you cannot get distracted. All right, there are new fitness trends coming out all the time. People talking about this, that, something new every day, it seems like, every week. You can't get distracted, all right? Getting jacked is not rocket science. The problem is that the people that we listen to, they either forget where they came from, they don't care where they came from and they're lying to you, or they're juiced to the gills and they're lying to your face. If you are natural, like myself, and you plan on being a lifetime natural, like myself, it is under my opinion that you should not be listening to guys who are on steroids. Key reason being that you are not them and they are not you. They are in a whole nother ballpark, okay, with a whole bunch of different rules, all right? You're natural, they're enhanced. It's just not the same. I'd also like to say that training as a lifetime natural is not the hard way of training. It's the normal way. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. If you want big and wide shoulders, you need to be overhead pressing. Okay, there's no way around it. You need to be overhead pressing. This is a forgotten movement nowadays because it seems that everyone thinks if they put a heavy barbell above their head, they're going to get injured. And that is just not the right mindset to have. All right, of course, you want to start small, work your way up. But again, the overhead press, there is nothing better for your shoulders that you can be doing. Overhead pressing not only gets you massive shoulders, but it also strengthens your triceps, your core, also known as abdominals, of course, and it's also going to increase your bench press. I've also seen great results doing the barbell upright row, as well as the barbell behind the neck press. Contrary to popular belief, I do not spend hours in the gym doing cable lateral raises or even dumbbell lateral raises, okay? These have just never worked for me. They have given me a great burn, but as we all know, feeling that great burn and that mind-muscle connection, it's usually not always indicative of muscle growth. The barbell bench press is a key movement in my program, and for good reason, all right? It has grown my chest just from doing it for about 6 to 8 months. It's grown my chest from 44 inches to 47 inches. Yes, that's right, a whopping 3 inches. And if you're natural, that's a big deal, all right? Especially if you maintain a low enough body fat percentage, which I have done. I used to think that the chest press machines, such as the hammer strength machines, were far superior than the flat barbell bench press, but they're not even close. All right, I did these for quite a while and I trained hard on them to absolute failure every set, and I saw little to no growth. It wasn't until I added in 2 flat barbell bench press days into my program where I saw my chest explode. It is under my opinion that if you bench heavy twice a week, your chest will grow. I use my first day, which is Monday, as a rep out day for the flat barbell bench press. And then I use my second day, which is Thursday, as a strength day, which is where I only do the dead bench, also known as the pin press. And that has also gotten my bench way up there when it comes to strength numbers. A few other chest movements that you should absolutely be doing are going to be the dumbbell incline bench press. You could also use a barbell, of course, and also the weighted dip. To build a thick back, you need to be doing some heavy barbell rows. Don't worry so much about being a form stickler, all right? Just try your best to be athletic and move the weight, and you should be fine. Dumbbell rows are also a great option, but I do not do them currently, so can't really touch on those that much. Now, when it comes to building the width of the back, there's nothing better than the pull-up And you don't have to add weight to do these. You can just do body weight to failure. And if you can't do a good set of pull-ups, you have some work to do. All right, I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you're a male, 20 to 30, 20 to 40, even 20 to 45, I think you should be able to do a good set of pull-ups. And when I say good set, at least over 10 with pretty good form. Now, lat pull downs aren't really something that I focus on because I just think they're an inferior movement to the pull-up, but I do perform behind the neck lat pull downs. That's actually a personal favorite of mine from the old school days. That's an old school workout. Not many people do it anymore, but I always do it right after my pull-ups. I'll do a few set of pull-ups, and then I'll go around the lat pull down machine, do some behind the neck lat pull downs. And I've seen great results doing that. And of course, I cannot make this video without talking about the king of back workouts, and that's going to be the deadlift. Okay, there's a lot of talk around the deadlift, a lot of negative talk, also a lot of positive, but a lot of guys tell you to stay away from the deadlift, which if you don't know how to deadlift, you probably should learn how to do it before you put a bunch of weight on the bar and injure yourself. But to leave the deadlift out of your program, I just think you're going to be doing yourself a huge disservice. All right. When I deadlift and do it every week on my back days, my lower back, my upper back just feels so much stronger, so much healthier. And again, it's going to build that thickness. You know, a lot of people say it won't, but just do deadlifts for, let's say, a few months in your back days. Just do that, and you'll see how much better you feel, how much stronger you feel. So yes, deadlifts all the way. Give those a big, big thumbs up. I don't and have never done any of the silly, gimmicky arm workouts that have come out very recently, actually, from all the major fitness channels trying to reinvent the arm training wheel. But what I have done are the tried and true classics, and those classics have given me 17.25-inch arms. Now, first up for the biceps is going to be the standing barbell curl. Now, I know this is a forgotten movement when it comes to developing the biceps, but it's the best in my opinion. And yes, I do cheat quite a lot when I do these. Why? It's not for my ego. It's because it works for me. Once I started doing cheat reps on my standing barbell curls, my arms exploded. For those of you out there that have done that, you will know that I'm telling the truth. A few other of my most favorite bicep workouts that I do every single week are going to be the dumbbell incline curl at a pretty steep incline. You guys can see the video right here. That's just the way I prefer to do it. And of course, the dumbbell hammer curl. An honorable mention for biceps will be the barbell preacher curl. As for triceps, a personal favorite of mine is going to be the standing dumbbell French press. The two other movements that I do religiously are going to be the barbell skull crusher and also the rope push down. And I go very heavy on these, all right? Arm training is not an afterthought, and I want to make that very clear at this part in the video. A lot of guys, they treat their arms as an afterthought. And my arms, when I did that, were only about 15 inches or so. And then once I started hitting them like crazy, really training hard to absolute failure on every set, basically, then they really started to grow and, you know, take up this shape that looks great. But again, you need to be training your arms with the same intensity as everything else. I'll touch a little bit more on this in a few minutes. Squats. That's it. That's all you need for big legs. Not actually, but I do think squats are a necessity for anyone that is serious about growing their legs. A lot of guys try to replace the barbell squat with a hack squat or a leg sled or a leg press because they're too scared of doing a barbell squat. And for those of you that believe that live by that, I'm sorry, but you're a wimp. All right, I would use another word on here, but I don't like to curse. All right, but you are a wimp. And I used to be like that a little bit, but I would still squat on some days. Now I have fully embraced the barbell back squat, and I look forward to doing it. I look forward to just going balls to the wall under that barbell while it's resting on my traps. I just love it. And I think you should grow that same relationship with squats because, as I said before, they are going to explode your legs. Before I started doing squats, my legs were at a respectable 25 inches. And when I just added them back in about a half a year ago, really started training on them, progressive overloading on them, now they're at 26 and 3/4. So just about touching very close to 27 inches. Leg extensions and leg curls are kind of like the gym bro leg machines that everyone uses. And I do think you should be using them as well, but you can definitely get by with just using them as a warm up to your squats, which is exactly what I do. As for calves, you definitely need to be training them unless you want them to look like little sticks coming out from your massive quads. But I do recommend the standing calf raise. That's basically all I do. And I get a very, very good burn going on the calves when I do them. And I've seen a little bit of growth, but it is very hard to grow the calves. But you definitely need to be doing at least something for them. A honorable mention that I would like to throw out there in this video is going to be the Bulgarian split squat with 2 dumbbells. I used to love doing those, and they built my legs up quite a bit. All right, we are now on to arguably the most important part of this video. So if you're still here, good for you. Now, I would like to talk about training intensity. And I would just say you need to train hard, but the problem is most people have different definitions of training hard. Some people just train until it hurts and then they put the bar down. Other people don't even do that. Okay, they just, go through the motions and that's it. That's what most people do. And then there are the very, very few like myself who actually know how to train until they can't put the bar up anymore, which is basically what you need to do in order to grow as a natural lifter. All right. Go until you cannot perform the movement anymore. It's that simple. All right. So let's say you're doing barbell curls. You guys can see the footage right here. Just go until you look like this. All right. And you will feel it. All right. Veins will be popping out. All right. Your head will look like a tomato. All right. And your arms are going to feel like they're just going to detach off of your elbows and fall off. All right. Like the weight's just going to fall. You can't do anything about it. And that's how it should feel. I could barely even describe it to you. All right. I've done it so many times and I can't really describe it because it's just something that you need to do for yourself in order to understand. Now, if your program is made up entirely of machine movements, cable movements, you need to be doing all of those to absolute failure. All right. Because those movements are just so much more easy than the barbell movements. All right. They don't take as much out of you, which gives you all the more reason to just train them balls to the wall. All right. Even when you get to failure, drop the weight for 2 seconds, pick it back up, start doing a bunch of partials or something, or do a drop set. You gotta think of something. All right. Because those machine movements, again, they're just so much easier. Now on to training frequency. All right. Now I am a guy who has done pretty much every split that you can think of. All right. I started out doing full body 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Did that for a few years. Then I did the Arnold program for another few years. Okay. Did that for, 6 days a week Arnold program. And then after that, I did more of a kind of like a mishmash of the full body and the Arnold, doing 5 days a week there, having an arm day included in that, but hitting every every muscle at least twice per week. Recently, I have done the Dorian Yates program, but I wasn't doing just one set. It wasn't like the high intensity stuff. I was doing 2 sets once per week, okay? And that was for every movement. So I would do 2 to 3, usually 3 movements per muscle group with 2 sets. So what is that? 6 sets per week of each muscle, okay? 3 different movements. And I saw great results doing that as well. But here's the catch. The main thing is that you need to know how to train balls to the wall. Because if you're not keeping that intensity up and just going at it every single workout, trying to progress, really just throwing everything you have at the weights, you're probably not going to grow if you do that, which is why I recommend hitting your muscles probably twice per week, which is something that I just started doing again. And I'm going to see how it works out because it's something that I used to do and it's where I made most of my growth. So let's all agree that you should be training each muscle twice per week. Got that? Awesome. All right, now for the last few minutes of this video, I'm going to talk about diet and sleep because in my opinion, they are just as important as training. You tear your body down in the gym and you need to build it back up. How do you do that? With the food you eat and the rest you give your body. Nothing is going to be better than a whole food diet. Nothing processed, very minimal processing when it comes to food, all right? Whole foods. It's that simple. Chicken, red meat, fish, vegetables, fruit, potatoes, white rice, all right, you name it. Anything that's a whole food, it's going to build your muscle. Don't rely on protein powders as much as real food, okay? Real food, like I just said, all those whole foods, that should make up most of your diet. I would say about 90%, all right? And if you need to get extra protein in, then you can use a whey protein powder that is free, keyword free, of all preservatives, added sugars, because most of them, they have a bunch of crap in them, all right? Same with protein bars, which is why I don't recommend that you use those as your primary protein source. When it comes to how much protein you should be eating, I do think the gram per pound body weight is a pretty good reference to go by. Some people will need less, some people might need more. All right, you got to find out what works for you, what helps you grow those muscles. And again, I think this is pretty common sense advice, but nothing processed. Okay, I see a lot of guys in the fitness community, they push for just eating basically anything and everything, and that's just not the way to go about it. All right, because you're going to feel like absolute shit. All right, you want to eat a healthy diet in order to feel like your best self. And for sleep, get at least 8 hours of sleep every night. Try to get to bed by at least 10 o'clock. Okay, everyone's schedule is going to be different if you work nights or something. But again, try to get 8 hours of sleep. And that is the video, guys. I told you it was going to be very simple. If you want a more in-depth video, let me know down in the comments. But as always, thank you so much for watching. God bless.